Hello, bonjour, comment ça va? And welcome back to my channel. My name is Lazius K and I talk about the practical usage of VR. That's right. I thought it'd be a really cool opportunity because we're still here live in China from my lovely home in Beijing where me and my wife live. As you know, I'm based in Singapore, but I do come back here in China from time to time. And well, what better opportunity to show you guys a VR cinema. That's right, I said it, VR cinema. So what is that exactly? Well, China had been pumping millions of dollars in VR. They just built the world's biggest, most humongous VR park you could think of, and they're going to open it up quite pretty soon. And in the meantime, they have all these different cinemas. We can go and watch a movie with the headset on inside the little egg, and that's would be a really cool experience to show you guys what it's like, what kind of content they have, and yeah, just, you know, it's something pretty new, so I think it'd be pretty cool. All right, without further ado, let's go. So the first thing what we have to do is buy a ticket, just like a normal cinema ticket. So the amazing thing about China is that everything is cashless, so you just pay using your mobile phone. All right, we got the tickets. Let's go and check it out. Alright, so we're back from the VR cinema. It was my first experience ever outside, trying out VR in the cinema. How about you?
Yeah, it was great. It's a very nice first experience too.
Was it your first experience?
I wouldn't say it's my first experience because I think I've had a VR headset on, you know, to watch a movie and stuff. But a first experience in VR cinema, yes.
So what did you think of your experience in these movies that we watched?
Well, it was very immersive. I mean, you have, you know, all your senses are kind of connected with, you know, the motion, sound, and visuals. So it was great. So
we watched two movies. They basically, the way it was is we could choose, I think there was maybe 10 movies or something like that. And all the movies that were there were all animation movies. And I think it's probably because they want to get all the kids there so that parents can try and get more people in VR. And also because I think most of the technology that's out today, it's extremely costly to film, you know, a high budget production using VR 360 cameras. It's just not there yet. I thought what was interesting was that we were in little pods and they were going around and then they were moving around. So you really had like a 4D kind of cinema experience.
Yes, exactly. So you can actually, you can feel as the action goes along, you know, the whole body is kind of experiencing something as well.
Yeah, and I think it worked better. We watched two movies. So the first one was quite a quiet animated movie where the pod was only moving a little bit. And I felt it was actually very awkward because it wasn't smooth moving. It was like, and then it kind of stopped. So it was trying to direct you as to where to watch, right?
Right.
But the second one was more animated. There was a lot more action in what was going on. So when it was actually moving it kind of made more sense.
Yes, I think the first movie was a bit more quiet, a bit more artistic, and it wasn't really, the plot wasn't really meant for movies like that.
Right.
But the second one where there's a lot of action, a lot of, you know, going through, following the characters into different adventures and ravines and volcanoes and all that kind of stuff, that's really very good for that.
Yeah, so the second movie we're talking about, it was a story of actually a boy and his sister who imagined themselves getting lost in a world where their dog had disappeared and they end up in this Jurassic kind of world, I think.
Yes, with dinosaurs.
With dinosaurs chasing them.
Exactly.
And they're going down.
Oh, they're not real dinosaurs.
No, they're not real dinosaurs. They're basically bones.
Yes.
Dinosaur
we
bones.
shouldn't be giving away, you know, the plot line.
Sure,
too much of it spoilers.
Yes, we'll put a link
in case someone wants to watch it.
In case someone wants to watch it. It's actually, but it did really feel immersive. But in terms of the headset itself, how is it for you?
Well, I think the headsets are still a little bit too big, a little bit. I mean, I still need to use my hand to support it. So, in a sense, it's not still very comfortable. I wouldn't say that it's the best experience, but I think it's getting there.
Yeah, for me, I really do prefer the Oculus Go. I can tell that the Oculus put a lot more effort and money maybe into how they produce a very professional quality headset. But these ones felt a little bit flimsier, I would say. I mean, I think the distance between I like being able to see the outside world because I can eat or I can know where I'm going or things like, eat when I'm on the plane.
You can see the outside world.
I can see the outside because they have this little thing there so you can see. But for this headset,
I can't.
But the headset that we tried, the gap was quite a lot. So there were other people around. There was like kids running around. So sometimes to me, the immersiveness was lost because I could see and I could hear the people talking, or I could hear the people running, or something like that.
Okay. Well, I couldn't really.
You couldn't
hear that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, I think it'd be nice to have more options, like for the volume of the actual because they put the headset on first, but then they put you these huge headphones on,
right?
And you have no control on the volume of the headphones, so you can't put it up or put it down. So to me, it would be nice to have more, have that flexibility, have that freedom to be able to choose whether I want to make it louder or not make it louder.
Sure.
I guess.
Well, I think it's a good experience anyway.
Yeah. So would you go again?
Yeah, of course. If they have, better movies coming up.
It's a new experience. It's something that could feel awkward going into one of these pods, right? I mean, anything that we do that is new, other people will maybe, scrutinize or look at you strangely. Did you feel at all uncomfortable going inside one of these pods, knowing there are other people around, walking around inside the space, the environment that we were in?
Well, not at all. I think it's quite an individualistic experience, really, because you're going into a pod. It's an individual pod. You don't share the pod with anyone else.
Right.
And when someone else is in another pod, they are in their own world. You don't really interact with each other. And if your headset is good, I suppose, and the sound is appropriate, you really don't know what else is going on around.
Actually, it was quite interesting because there was two little girls there and they were watching the same movie and they started to play it at the same time because they have this computer where they can choose which pods are playing what movie. So they clicked, the lady clicked on it and it played the same movie for these two girls at the same time. But I think it would be really interesting because there's another app on the Oculus Go called the Big Screen, which enables you to watch movies in VR with other people at the same time within that VR environment. So I think it'd be really great if one day they could actually link up all these pods where you suddenly are immersed in a VR environment or room or theater or whatever, and then I could actually see you there as well.
Well, if that's what you want to do.
If that's what you want to do and you don't want it to be an individual, I guess,
well,
experience.
Sure, but I don't know how that's going to be incorporated into the whole system.
Who knows? The future will only tell. For the first movie, it was 38 kwai, which is the equivalent of what, 5 Singapore dollars?
6.
So maybe
6 or 7.
So maybe $6 or $7 US. And then the second movie that we paid for was double that amount. In fact, it was more than double. No, it was actually double. So it's probably around $16 US per movie for the more expensive, longer one. So
for 12 minutes.
So the first movie was 12 minutes, about...
The second was 12 minutes too.
$6 US, and the second movie was also 12 minutes.
But there's a lot more action.
But there was a lot more action in the second one. So did you feel you got your buck for the bang for the buck? or did you think that you were cheated, or did you think it was just too expensive? What do you think about that?
I think it was okay for the experience, but I wouldn't say I would go too many times for the same thing.
Right. So once you've watched the first movie, would you watch it again?
No.
Right. But that's almost the same for normal movies, right? So if we go and watch...
It depends.
It's true, it depends on the movie.
Which movie that is, yeah.
Right. But one of the movies we watched apparently had won tons of awards. But it didn't really feel like it had won tons of awards, right?
I guess it's in terms of VR and possibly because it's an interesting story.
That's true.
It's more like a quiet story, more like an art film kind of thing.
That's true. And these are all made by Chinese people, by the way, in China, because I looked at the credits afterwards. No, I mean, when I first went to a VR park, because I went to a VR experience when I was 14 years old or 13 years old, and it was equivalent of $5 every 20 seconds. So, or it was more than that. It was very expensive. So the price has definitely gone down. But it would be great one day to see like the Endgame or some Harry Potter movies or something like that in VR. I can really, I don't know, I can actually really see it.
Well, yeah, I think it's very possible in the near future.
Would you go and watch a Harry Potter movie in VR?
Yeah, of course.
So when we first went there, they kind of created this spaceship kind of environment where you really felt that you were transported before you actually went into the egg or the cocoon or however you want to talk about it. What did you think in terms of the architecture of the interior of the entire space?
Well, I think it's very interesting, and in that they try to take you out into, it's more like a sci-fi experience in outer space or something like that. So in terms of packaging, I suppose that's a good idea.
Yeah, because already you've been transported to another world, even though you're not in VR. This mixed reality kind of already takes place.
Yes.
Before you're actually in the egg. So psychologically, you're already psyching yourself up for the VR experience.
Right.
As opposed to having this egg in the middle of nowhere, it might not be as effective.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you think do you want to see more VR cafes or VR cinemas around? Do you think this is something of value or that, can really, I don't know, make the world more interesting?
Well, I think content is king. I think as long as more content comes out in VR, then, things will move on and more people will flock to VR and more cafes and cinemas will open up. But I think people have to start making VR content first.
But compare watching a VR movie like we did and watching a movie in 3D using 3D glasses, for example. What do you think, in your opinion, do you really think it adds more value, or do you think the 3D goggles already, the 3D glasses already adds enough value so we don't actually need the VR experience?
I think it's a different dimension, it's a different experience, and people are always looking for new experiences. So if you can do it well and do it properly, I think people will still want to try it out.
Well, yeah, for me, I have to say that it's all about escapism. Being entertained. When I go to a movie, it's about forgetting about all my problems.
Right.
It's about really being transported into a place I haven't been in. So I have to say that with the second movie that I watched, I actually felt that way. Like, there were moments I wanted to laugh. I completely forgot there was people around me. And yeah, I really enjoyed the experience. So I personally hope that more of these kind of things would happen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. On that note, remember to like and subscribe. Type as many comments and suggestions as you can in the comments box. Let me know your ideas so that I can go out and shoot all this kind of stuff for you, so that you and I together, we can grow the community, because that is what it's all about. All right. Until next time, take it easy. Thank you very much for watching. DJ, cue music.